What are your thoughts on the allegations made by US Congressman Perry Scott about a US donor agency funding terrorist organizations around the world, including Boko Haram?
When I saw that news, I was a little bit taken aback, but even so, it didn't come to me so much as a surprise. We've often talked about a conspiracy in terms of Boko Haram and ISWAP. We've looked at a collaboration where they are getting their funding from. Boko Haram has lasted for about 15 years. If you will listen to the Chief of Defense Staff the other day, or the Chief of Army Staff rather, he did say that it's shocking to them how Boko Haram and the rest of them are able to survive for 15 years if they do not have a solid backing. It's not news for anybody to say that Boko Haram or any of the terrorist groups are actually getting financial and equipment support from outside. Otherwise, you want to wonder how they get monies, particularly in foreign currency. You want to wonder how they get equipment, sometimes that equate in terms of sophistication and strength with those of the state actors. You also want to wonder how they also get some equipment that are even more sophisticated than what the state actors are bearing. And so it gives concern. The man who has stated this is not a Nigerian. The man who has stated this is not just any man on the streets of America. The man who has stated this is somebody who is amongst the lawmakers, and whom the government in most times will get clearance from for whatever they have to do, particularly with their funders.
Darlington, let me come in here quickly. You know, just to put it into context, Congressman Perry was describing how the funding that goes to Nigeria goes through certain Islamic schools. And he was drawing some kind of parallels that if we are funding Islamic schools, like maybe the Al-Majiris and the Madrasas, it means that inadvertently we're supporting the mission of Boko Haram. Does that still justify the statement that Boko Haram is getting money directly from USAID?
Well, he has not said Boko Haram was getting monies from USAID. But I also want to let you understand that monies come into the purse of terrorist groups. He also talked about training of some of these terrorist groups. I want to draw your attention to a couple of years back, where from the United Arab Emirates, some persons were charged for pushing money to Boko Haram in Nigeria. I don't know if you remember all of that. And those persons who were charged were arrested and were taken to court and are serving jail terms as I speak with you now. But what did we get on our own side? If they did not reveal that, that would have gone. There's no gain saying the fact that this terrorist group have been funded, whether directly or indirectly. For them to survive, for Boko Haram to survive for 15 years, come on. Where are they getting the monies from? Where are they getting the equipment from?
All right then.
Look at some of them who bear this. Look at some of them who bear these small arms and light weapons. They don't know where to get them from. They do not know where to purchase them from. So let's not pretend about this.
Right.
Let's not begin to say whether there's international conspiracy or not. That apparently has been established.
Darlington.
Okay, for instance, ISWAP has a link with some other organizations outside this same country. Is that not international conspiracy?
Right. So,
I think you
Darlington,
investigate the matter the way it is.
You are basically saying that you probably also one of the people who believe what the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, said about a month ago to Al Jazeera Media Network, that indeed these terrorist groups are receiving sponsorship and training from international organizations.
Definitely, yes. Now, what I want to, and you didn't hear what I just said? That the equipment these people bear, where do they get them? Sometimes they try to beat our soldiers with the equipment they bear when they confront them. Where do they come from? And how did they come into this country? That is another matter I don't even want to delve into. How do they cross our borders?
Right.
How do they fly them into this country? So, let us face the facts. ISWAP has connection with ISIS and ISIL. That one is established. Do you still have doubt about that? And that what the sponsorship they get also come from, partly from that place. And then when we talk about international conspiracy, my dear sister, here is a congressman who insinuated that this thing, what he was saying was like the thing coming in indirectly. Are you saying who trains these people? They manufacture some of their own firearms, some of their own ammunition in the forest. Where do they get all of those equipment and trainings from? If I gave you,
look at how our lawmakers are supposed to be addressing this.
Trigger.
Right now, let's
know where the trigger is to pull.
Bring it back home. Let's bring it back home. How do you expect the Nigerian Senate to probe this matter? And are you optimistic this probe will lead to tangible decision-making or even policy overall on security? After all, this is not the first time we're hearing such an allegation and probe into what's happening or what isn't.
You're absolutely right on that. You're on point on that. I do not see any good thing coming out of it. I do not. What would they've asked the security agencies to come together and submit a report. What would that report? Who would work on it? How would it be? Would you want to summon the congressman to Nigeria to come and tell us clearly and ask him some questions more so that he would expatiate on what he has said? So what are you going to? What are you going to go about it? That video has gone viral. That video is everywhere and is giving concern to some other countries, particularly on the Sahel. It did not just mention Boko Haram. It talked about other deadly terrorist groups. So what are we talking about? What would the Senate do beyond what they are doing now? Georgia, and then they will Georgia, and then the matter fades away. At the end of the day, what are we going to get from it? But eventually, if it's into some other climes, the country would have been demanding to use diplomatic corridors to address that matter, to investigate more, and then begin to report to UN or invite UN to do something about this matter. What is giving Boko Haram life to succeed for 15 years, to survive for 15 years in Nigeria, for goodness sake? What are we talking about? You're getting me worked up.
Right.
But this is the truth. People are dying on daily basis. The North is unstable. Of late, between December, January, and February, war has resumed again in the Northeast. Something that had died down. The
all right, Darlington.
Had conquered them for a while.
All right, Darlington.
I'm feeling very terrible.
Yeah, we're going to have to leave it there.
About this.
We're going to have to leave it there, Darlington. We believe that the Senate is going to be probing this. We'll keep an eye on it here on News Central. Thank you so much for your thoughts.